Hello, and welcome to Around the Political World with John Rothman. I am your host, John Rothman. If you're a fan of the show, make sure to hit the follow button on the top right of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening at this very moment. When you hit follow, leave a review or share an episode with a friend. It helps other people discover the show, keeps us going. So I like to point out each and every day, it expands our base. I want to speak about three critical issues this morning. First, the shooting in New York City. It's amazing that a shooting like that could take place in the middle of New York. And yet, we know that there is nothing to prevent a lone shooter from taking a gun, traveling, as evidently this shooter did, from Las Vegas to New York in order to shoot up. And that's exactly what bothers me. It is simply a fact that in the United States, we have no way to prevent these kinds of shootings. And there is no inclination by those who are in authority, that is to say, the people who oppose any kind of gun control. And I say authority because they wield tremendous political power. There is no way that they are going to surrender the idea that they have a right to have a gun. I don't know the answer. I only know that every day we are going to see more and more examples of gun violence. We know that, for instance, in Georgia, gunfire killed 1, injured 10 near a streetcar stop. We know that in Nevada, 2 died in a shooting in a Reno casino. We know that wherever you look, you can see these kinds of gun violence actions every single day. So I'm making an appeal. The appeal is, can we please do something to at least limit gun violence? Can we at least make certain requirements that may reduce the gun violence? It isn't just New York. It's Georgia. It's Nevada. It's everywhere. The second major issue I want to talk about is the question of our legal rights. Civil rights lawyers seeking a temporary restraining order against an immigration detention center in the Florida Everglades have said that the Alligator Alcatraz detainees have been barred from meeting attorneys, that they are being held without any charges, and that a federal immigration court has canceled bond hearings. What happened to the Constitution? What happened to the fact that detainees do have constitutional rights, that those constitutional rights are being violated? Where is the outrage? I remember the days of Perry Mason and the Defenders and all of the other legal shows that demonstrated the strength of the American legal system. But this, my friends, is very concerning. Do you understand that if it can happen to one person, it can happen to any one of us? So my appeal, again, this morning, is for the rule of law to be upheld. And it doesn't matter whether you're a judge appointed by a Democrat or a Republican. I want all of us to know that we are safe. This is no joke. And I agree with Eunice Chow, an attorney for the American Civil Liberties Union Foundation, who said, "This is an emergency situation." It is. It is an emergency situation that affects each and every one of us. I want to spend just another moment on another issue, and that has to do with Ukraine. President Trump said the other day that he is giving Russian President Vladimir Putin 12 days, or 10 to 12 days, to stop the killing in Ukraine. That statement simply shortened the 50-day deadline he had given the Russian leader 2 weeks before. You know that it doesn't matter to Putin what Trump says. Russia fired an overnight barrage of more than 300 drones, 4 cruise missiles, and 3 ballistic missiles. That's what the Ukrainians tell us. And this despite Trump's pressure for these attacks to end. I want to remind you that the president said on July 14th that he would implement severe tariffs on Russia unless a peace deal is reached by early September. On Monday, just the other day, Trump now talks about giving Putin 10 to 12 days, meaning he wants peace efforts, if my math is correct, to make progress by August 7th to 9th. Who knows what will happen? But let me remind everyone that a Russian drone blew out the window of a 25-story residential building in one community in Kiev, and that the attacks continues. And we know that the main target of the Russian attack continues to be Western Ukraine. And we know that as long as this war continues, more innocent people will die. In short, the world has reached a point where there is, well, on every level, continuing disturbance. Now, I want to point out this is true in every era. You can go to any particular point in history and you will find the same things taking place. Maybe different in various degrees, but multiple issues every single day. That's why having a vital, vibrant news media is so important. And that means that when Donald Trump declares war against CBS, ABC, NBC, public broadcasting, when Donald Trump tries to intervene in terms of how we get our news, we've got a problem. The only way we can be informed and aware is if we have news coverage that is relatively constant. And so I want to make this appeal as well. Let's make sure that not only our civil rights are protected, let's make sure that we have the ability to communicate through the news. These are not matters to be ignored. They are matters which need to be addressed by all of us who believe with perfect faith that the American system, well, it's being tested, and we cannot afford to fail. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Around the Political World with John Rothman. I am John Rothman. Make sure to follow along and let me know your thoughts on the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts and sharing an episode with a friend or colleague so we can continue to grow and expand, which, of course, is our goal. I want to remind you that you can interact with me, as many of you do, by going to LinkedIn, by going to Facebook, by emailing me directly. And I'm grateful for all of your feedback, those who agree, and frankly, those who disagree. I also want to extend my deep appreciation to the wonderful producer of Around the Political World with John Rothman, Gogo Zoger. She makes sure we are up and running every single day. Well, that's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow, right here, with another episode of Around the Political World with John Rothman. Let's hope the news is better. See you tomorrow.